Cuckoos lay their eggs in the nests of other birds, and the movie begins with a brief clip depicting their parasitic life cycle. A cuckoo chick kicks the other offspring out of the nest once it is hatched, and the surrogate mother looks after it. After a few months, the cuckoo is grown to be a frighteningly huge bird, devouring all the surrogate mother bird has to give. There are similar parasites in the human world, too. Gemma is a young kindergarten teacher. One day, she comes across one of her students under a tree in the school garden, staring at two little dead baby birds on the ground. Gemma tries to comfort the girl by saying that it is the law of nature. Sometimes it really do be like that, though. Her boyfriend Tom, who is a gardener at the same school, climbs down the tree and starts consoling her as well. He then buries the chicks in order to make the little girl feel happy. As Gemma and Tom earn a meager salary, they do not have much property with them except for a car, more than I have. Both of them plan to prepare for their future and agree upon buying a house for themselves. One day after work, the couple visits a real estate broker to collect information about the houses. They find Martin, an odd real estate salesperson, who informs them about a residential build called Yonder. The couple doesn't seem interested in the property, but despite this, Martin insists on taking them to show a sample house. The three then drive out to the subdivision, where the houses are all identical residential homes. It's unusually quiet, vacant, and unearthly. Martin takes the couple on a tour of home number 9, which is fully furnished. The house even has food and beverages inside the fridge. However, before the couple can say anything, Martin disappears from the house mysteriously. Annoyed by his lack of professionalism and suspicious of the eerie place, Gemma and Tom immediately try to leave Yonder, but become lost. Every route they take leads them back to house number 9. They can only see identical homes as far as their eyes can see. After circling the same route for numerous times, the car runs out of gas, and they also lose the mobile signal in their cell phones. With no choices left, they reluctantly decide to spend the night in house number 9. Inside, they try eating the food from the refrigerator, but find it tasteless. The very next morning, the couple decides to move out of the strange place. After finding a ladder inside the house, Tom climbs up onto the roof to see if he can find a way out of Yonder. To his horror, he notices that the identical homes are stretched over thousands and thousands of rows. Desperate to get out of the place, the couple decides to follow the artificial-looking sun, thinking that if they remain on track, it will lead them out. After walking continuously for almost a day, the couple suddenly gets excited when they notice a house with the lights on. They immediately break in, but their excitement quickly turns into disappointment when they find out that they have been brought back to house number 9. To make matters more strange, they discover a delivery box outside the house with pre-packaged food and other essentials required for their survival. Okay, this is exactly how I live. Tom angrily sets fire to house number 9 in the hopes of attracting attention for help. The weary couple then falls asleep on the road that night. However, the next day when they wake up, they are shocked to find the house in perfect condition, along with a small newborn in a box with the instructions, "Raise the child and be released." The couple are bewildered by the unprecedented turn of events, but have no choice but to raise the baby on their own. After 98 days, the baby has grown to the size of a 7-year-old boy, with an adult-like voice that mimics Tom's and Gemma's voice in a strange manner. The boy calls them mother and father, but the couple despises him as he lets out creepy, high-pitched screams when he is unsatisfied or unhappy. When he isn't absorbed by mysterious, unusual patterns on the television, he attentively watches and mimics the couple. Gradually, the couple's mental health suffers as a result of living with the strange child, along with his odd behavior. Sometimes it really do be like that, though. Their physical health deteriorates as well. During their time at home, Tom constantly leaves messages for help on the roof, but to no avail. They also continue to get daily supplies from the box that appears in front of the house. At the end of the day, the couple drops the emptied box outside, and it vanishes in an instant. One day, Tom asks the boy if he has taken the box, but he remains silent.
Fuck you, Dad.
Bored of his life, Tom does absolutely nothing but sit in the garden every day, waiting for someone to arrive and collect or drop the box. However, no one ever comes. The boxes just appear and disappear eerily. One day, after throwing a lit cigarette on the lawn, Tom notices that Yonder's soil is comprised of an apparently man-made material. So, he begins digging a hole and soon becomes fascinated with it. Digging gives him a sense of purpose, as he wants to create a tunnel and escape through it. Tom's life is has now changed. Every day he finishes his meal in a hurry and starts digging the hole in the garden until night. Because of this, he starts talking less with Gemma and grows distant from her. Sometimes he even falls asleep at the bottom of the hole. It's another ordinary day. An exhausted Gemma sits on the floor of the living room, watching the boy play. After a while, the boy turns on the TV, which shows creepy and bizarre patterns, but he seems to be mesmerized by them. You never know what the next fad is going to be on YouTube. After digging the whole day, Tom joins Gemma inside their car at night. He says that the car is the only thing that he feels is real in the whole of yonder. As the couple is chatting, Tom accidentally hits the radio, and to their surprise, there is still some power to turn it on. Being away from the real world for long, the couple is delighted to hear soulful music and can't help but dance to it. Both of them seem happy after a long time. The creepy boy also joins them and starts dancing, but suddenly, an angry Tom picks him up and slams him onto the ground. Gemma quickly goes to check on him, and to her relief, the boy is fine. In the next scene, Gemma is seen tucking the boy into bed. She explains why she and Tom can't be with him all the time. When she is about to leave the boy to sleep, he abruptly calls her Mother. However, Gemma corrects him, saying that she is not his mother. This angers the freak boy, and he starts screaming at the top of his lungs, like this. Gemma tries to silence him, but when he does not oblige, she simply slams the door and goes to bed. A depressed Gemma then tries to be intimate with Tom, but he refuses and apologizes for not being in the mood. The following day, the boy walks into the door and wakes the couple up with a loud scream. All of them then head for breakfast. After eating, Tom continues digging the hole and hears a strange sound coming from underneath. Later that night, he wakes up hearing the same strange sound. He then reaches the living room, only to find the sound coming from the TV that the boy is watching. Tom turns the television off, but the boy turns it on again immediately. Gemma also tries to make him obey, but the boy refuses. At last, they simply leave the room and let him be. Just let it go. He loves watching Andrew Tate. It's too late for him. The next morning, the boy again screams to get the breakfast served. This time, however, Tom loses his cool, picks up the creep, and locks him inside the car. He wants to starve the boy in hopes of bringing out the person behind the devious game. Gemma tries to intervene, but Tom holds her and drags her inside the house. He says that from now on, he is not going to let her help the boy. However, when Gemma hears the boy scream and struggle inside the car, she snatches the keys from Tom and rescues him. This strains the couple's relationship even more. As the days pass, Gemma continues to take care of the boy as it is the only thing that makes her feel better. She finds that he is incapable of imagining or picturing things. Tom's emotional remoteness with Gemma makes her even closer to the boy. She plays games with him every day and even takes him to picnics out on the grass. One day, the boy goes missing and Gemma can't find him anywhere. At night, he finally returns with a weird textbook written in a terrifying and unknown language.
I talked to Cthulhu, Mama.
Gemma asks the boy who gave him the book, but he doesn't speak a word. So she asks him to at least mimic the person, and this time the boy obliges. He then demonstrates by expanding his neck sacs like a toad while producing strange noises.
No!
Gemma starts crying in horror and despair, for she can't stand the creepy boy any longer. Neck sacs are the last straw. She pleads that she wants to go home, but the boy smiles and replies that she is home. In the next scene, another 98 days have passed by. The creepy boy is now matured into an adult. Gemma is scared of the freak and contemplates with Tom that they should have killed the boy. By this time, the couple, especially Tom, has become much weaker and he has bruises on his back. Realizing that they don't have much time left, Gemma takes matters into her own hands. One day, she follows the freak when he gets out of the house, hoping to find an exit route. However, she soon loses sight of him and gets lost. Meanwhile, Tom discovers a withered corpse in a body bag while excavating the hole. Scared, he immediately gets out of the hole, and at the same time, hears Gemma's cries for help. They shout for each other and eventually unite, but when they try to enter the house, they cannot. It turns out the freak has locked them outside. Gemma then drags an exhausted Tom inside the car, and both of them spend their night there. After days without food, Tom becomes extremely fragile and is close to death. When the freak comes out of the house during the day, Gemma pleads with him to save Tom, but he ignorantly replies that it's time for Tom to be released. A helpless Gemma then carries her husband in her arms, and both of them remain at the sidewalk, reminiscing about how they met. After a while, Tom tragically passes away in her arms. He never even had a chance to create Facebook or fight Superman. Later, the freak returns with a box which contains a vacuum vacuum bag. He zips Tom's dead body into it and then throws it into the same pit that Tom had dug. The next morning, a furious Gemma tries to kill the freak with Tom's pickaxe, but she only manages to wound him slightly. He makes strange noises and mysteriously opens the streets with his hands before retreating into the underground maze. Unwilling to give up, Gemma follows the freak inside the maze. The place is scary and looks like a colorful haunted house. Gemma is taken aback as she sees identical homes where other young couples are living similar lives in the same house with the same freak boy. She realizes that everything she sees resembles her life in yonder. She also sees that all the couples ended up dying in the end. A depressed Gemma is then sucked back into the same house number 9. There, she realizes that they were imprisoned in this community right from the moment they arrived. Gemma collapses on the floor and closes her eyes, anticipating death. The last thing she remembers is the freak zipping her inside a vacuum bag and saying that a mother's purpose is to raise a kid and die. After Gemma passes away, the freak chucks her into the same pit where Tom is resting and buries the hole. After this, the freak paints the house back to its original condition. He then refuels the car and departs the community, back to the same real estate agent where Tom and Gemma once went. The man who recommended Tom and Gemma is still there, but is old and has reached the end of his cycle. The freak then takes the name tag away from him and takes over his place. Before beginning his new post, the new Martin rolls up his predecessor's body and places it in a file cabinet. The movie ends as Martin welcomes a new couple, searching for the house of their dreams. I guess this movie was saying something about the American dream and suburban living, but the only moral I got was, sometimes it do be like that though. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.